Hello everybody and welcome to another video. It has been a little while. A couple things released now in the last couple of weeks that have been going on. One, the A321neo of course has released. I mean, it hasn't just been the last couple of weeks, but the 321neo has released from FS Labs, which is really exciting, and the Fenix BFU has come out. That's at least aircraft department wise. I decided to give Fenix another shot with the BFU, and I must say I've already done 3 flights with it. I think all 3 in the A319. We're flying now the A320 because I must say I am not a fan of their flight model. I don't know. They said they've improved it, and you know, that very well may be the case, but by the way, I flew all flights in 2024. I've heard that 2024 and 2020 that the Fenix flies differently in both sims with the BFU, which is interesting. People who generally say that the airplane flies very stable and very nicely fly in 2020, and those who say that it doesn't fly very nicely, like me, flies it in 2024. I will not be using 2020 for this. I'll be using 2024 because that's the future and that's where the airplane should shine. So we'll see. I thought to give it the fairest shot, the 320 should be the most mature out of all 3 of them because, well, it has the most reliable information, if that makes sense. And it is true that in the past, when the 319, 321 came out, I've had issues with flying those airplanes because they just did not really do what they were supposed to, whereas the 320 flew more as it should. And you can tell that it was more fine-tuned. I've also had issues with the 319 just not decelerating at all. I have full speed brake out and the airplane just keeps its speed even at idle. And I'm not even descending quickly, like I'm descending at like maybe 1500 feet per minute. I had that issue yesterday, and it's just really incredibly frustrating. No matter what you do, you can't get the airplane to slow down, and you always have to do a go around. It's incredibly frustrating, and it's not realistic. So I am definitely not a fan of the Fenix flight model, and I'm generally not a fan of the systems from Fenix. They are pretty decent, but they're certainly not up to par to what I would like them to be. And I must also say the Fenix is incredibly boring to fly. Not to say that Fenix is the only one that suffers from this, but ever since I've been, delved back into the FS Labs and with their new MEL feature and everything like that, it's just a whole different world, and it makes flying much more rewarding. And that makes every flight truly unique. Whereas with the Fenix and with a lot of other airplanes, PUNIG included, although PUNIG I think does it a little bit better than Fenix, it just is pretty much the same every time, and I don't like that. I like some variety. So you can already tell that I'm not too positively set up for this flight or for the Fenix. However, I did give it a fair shot, of course. I did fly the 319 3 times already, and I'm not a fan so far. And that's why I'm trying the 320, because that is the most reliable I would expect to be from the Fenix lineup. So we'll see. So we're flying today from Prague over to Dublin. Flight time is about 2 hours, and we're gonna be connecting to Vatsim here. Just quickly do that. Hopefully nobody's in my way. I didn't check because I'm bad. Okay, I think I got lucky. That's good. So, without further ado, let's go and get this show on the road. And generally speaking, you're expected to start from down here. Now the biggest problem that we face, this is not a Fenix thing by the way, this is just a general issue, is that there's no way for us to really get into the aircraft if we have a jetway. We have to rely on the aircraft developer or GSX to give us an aft stair in order to get up the airplane and to go inside of it. But in this scenario, there's no way for me to go inside. It's just not possible, which is quite a bummer. So that's something that needs to be addressed. Now if we go to the flight deck, I do think the 3D stuff or the texturing has significantly improved. It is much more accurate to the real airplane than it was before. The grays are much more accurate, and the shading and everything is much nicer. The only thing I am not a fan of at the moment that I can think of is the overhead. I think the overhead looks too grayed out, and it's not. I'm not talking about the panels themselves. I'm talking about the switches, the guards, and the selectors here. They all just look off. The push buttons look good. That's not the issue. I have issues with the selectors. They're missing their. If you ever looked at the actual selectors, they have the white in the middle and then like a black trim around it, and they don't have that textured here. Same thing with these. It just looks really bland and looks fake. It looks off. The guard switches here, including the black one, should be more saturated. So I would expect the red to be more red than it is here. It's very grayish, and I would expect the black to be more black. They're actually plastic in the real airplanes, or not. Actually, that's wrong. They're not plastic. They are kind of metal, but the way they're painted makes them very vibrant in color. So I think this is way too grayed out. Also, a big issue. I don't have an issue with these. I find the switches here are too light. I don't know. They look too light for the metallic. They should be a bit darker, in my opinion. And the big problem is the housing of the switch is not dark enough. It should be a dark black, like a rich black. And you also see that the top part of it right here is also the same color as the switch, which is not correct. It should be all black, and it should be a nice dark rich black, which it isn't. And it also just all looks off. I'm not sure how one could miss that, but they did, and it looks just really weird. I think the push buttons, again, they definitely have improved. The nice new gauges, the digital indications are nice, the segment displays, and overall the cockpit itself, I'm not sure why it's so laggy, but overall the cockpit itself is incredibly well done and looks so much better now than it used to. So that's a big up. Something that Fenix has always been good at is 3D modeling, and at least some kind of texturing wear and tear. Like this, for example, this is also an incredibly nice touch where you can actually see where the actual toe brake or how it's actually constructed, and then the rubber on top of it, after wear and tear, you'll notice how it divots in. And the most used part is obviously where the actual rubber is connected or glued on or whatever, with the metal beams here, as you can see, or the metal housing. I'm not sure how I should explain that, but for those who know how they're constructed will know what I'm talking about. Generally, the wear and tear in this is also pretty well done. I don't think it's exaggerated or anything like that. I think that's also something that Fenix has always been good at. Again, I don't think Fenix has ever been really good at colors, except for today or now with the BFU. I think it's significantly improved, although again, not perfect. Another thing I wanted to mention, I just forgot, is the green here is just also way too gray. They're also in the real airplane very vibrant and they're very colorful. So it's, I don't know what I think what they thought was by having it grayed out would look like wear and tear, but I promise you I've never seen a real Airbus cockpit or flight deck that would look like this. This should be much more saturated. But hey, that's the beauty of opinions. So again, overall, I think the 3D artwork generally has improved significantly, but it's still not perfect. So let's go and get this airplane started. We need to depart in 45 minutes, so we have 15 minutes of preliminary stuff to do, and then And then 30 minutes to get boarding going and stuff like that. Also some stuff here is not quite correct. I would not expect the call indication to really be visible here. You don't really see that in the real ACPs. It's very hard to distinguish. The top part is correct. You do see that. You do see the
Prague traffic, EC79er X-ray correct, lining up and taking off runway 24 traffic.
Wait a minute. Okay, I don't like that I can listen to them even though the RMPs are off or have no power. But I think that's more of an MSFS/VPilot issue. Which we can also, which I also really like, is in the EFB we can also... Oh crap, it's not charged. Of course it's not. In the EFB you can also change what ACP volume, or what the volume on the ACP should change, which is really cool. Alright, let's go and get started. So the master switches are off. The mode selector is normal. The weather radar is off. Predicted wind shear system off. The gear is down. Wipers are off. Batteries are at least 25.5. We can turn them on. Exterior lighting all off. Extra power can come on. They've also improved the sounds, which they do sound pretty nice. Alright, APU fire test. So recall for 3 seconds. Normal status. This is checked, although I would not expect... I would expect Cat 2 here. That's still, again, they didn't do really much on the systems. These circuit breakers are all in and checked. In the aircraft, there's no tech log, there's nothing broken. Like I said, it's a boring airplane to fly because nothing happens. So, or I should better say, nothing unexpected happens. It's obviously you could argue that, well, I can fail things if I want to. Well, yeah, but the point is, I don't want to know what's going to be broken, right? That's the whole point. And the airplane should break itself because it's getting old or being used incorrectly, things like that. That's the whole point. But I'm sure you guys understood what I was trying to say. So, aircraft acceptance is complete. Let's go ahead and get ACARS initialized. Also, this ACARS is very boring compared to the FS Labs. Pretty much nothing you can do here. And the menus are very weird. I'm not sure what airline they're referencing, but it's definitely a very weird menu. Let's see, we are in Lima, Kilo, Papa, Romeo. Turn that off. And then the last thing we'll need to do is we need to go to the FMGC. I'm going to change this to -3.5. Alright, so A320 200 CFM 56.5 B4s, and nav database up to date, but it's missing. It's not 100% correct here. This page is not perfect for sure. Put it in it, and we'll do an init request. I'll also plug in 222 alpha in here. Perfect. So that's checked. ACARS is initialized. We'll get some data. The winds 240 at 8, light rain, few at 1,800 scattered, 16 degrees, QNH 1017. That's interesting. I've never seen true air temperature be different from saturated air temperature on the ground. That's very interesting. QNH 1017. Set, no significant changes. And then we got a tailix, which is our slot notification from Prague to Dublin. That plan release 1. This is incorrect. I'm not sure what it's calculating there. And we'll now do the preliminary performance determination. We'll go to Phoenix, we'll import the data. We'll check for ground services. We'll go ahead and connect the preconditioned air. We'll open our doors. And we plan with 162 passengers. We'll set our fuel to 10.5. Apply. And we're gonna go departure performance. We're gonna plan with wet prelim, which we should have gotten. We've got 2 because I've changed the fuel, so we're just gonna accept the latest one. 0 fuel weight 59, 6 takeoff weight 69.7, 69.7, 30 is about, packs off, anti-ice is not required, force toggle, no flap config. We're only expecting rain, we're not expecting thunderstorms or heavy turbulence, so I'm gonna go with, although, we're not expecting standing water, so I'm just gonna go with no toga, flaps optimum, and this is checked, and we're gonna calculate that. Flaps 1, 59, 46, 59, 159, and our stop margin of 549 feet. We're going to use the entire runway. Takeoff performance limiting weight is 84 tons, which is perfect. Well above what we require today. QNH is set 1017 once, twice, and 3 times is checked. What I must say I really like is the updated graphics or colors to the displays. It's really nice. It's a nice touch. Feels very nice. Looks accurate color-wise, or for the most part. Definitely better than before. So I also have to give compliments to that as well. All right. So that is checked. And then we'll do the before walk-around procedure. And we'll just do a quick walk around. We'll start boarding, request boarding, and then we'll do a walk around just to take a look at some of the features and why I say it doesn't matter that they have them. But I think you can already imagine why I wouldn't care about such features. It's cool to have. I mean, it's the same thing with circuit breakers. I think a lot of people would be like, you know, I will never pull a circuit breaker, but it is super cool to have because it tells you just how deep the airplane is or how deep the simulation is, and it gives you a better feeling of flying the airplane, right? I do actually use circuit breakers, by the way, if you guys are wondering. I actually do use circuit breakers a ton, so obviously not in videos but behind the scenes. So it certainly is an area for me that I actually do recommend every developer to have if they can. Especially developers like PMDG, which don't have it, which is kind of a shame. But it looks like they might with the 747. We'll see. It looks kind of like it. They're doing that now. But I hope still that the 777 and the 737 will get circuit breakers in the future. At least the ones that we can pull. It might be that they're already simulated. This is what FS Labs has done with P2D in the past. They were already simulated, but they were not able. We couldn't just pull them because I think P2D was limited with animations and things like that. Now that MSFS has no longer the limitation, they've added the circuit breakers to be animated and pulled. Anyways, let's continue. So before walk around, the oxygen pressure is sufficient, hydraulic quantities are good, engine oil quantities are good. Flaps up, indication of grease, spoilers, disarm, parking brake set, acupressure is sufficient, which is good. And with that, I am happy with the state of the airplane. So we're just going to do a quick panel scan, then right before we are going to do our FMGC, we're going to do the walk around. So something's not yet complete. It's good, it's going to say normal, it's all checked. This is not 100% simulated, but I'm going to do it anyways. Everything else checks out, that's good. And the maintenance panel is also checked and looking good. This is all good. QNH 1017, UTC is correct, date is also correct, and this all checks out. 122.8 for now is checked. That looks good. This all checks out. That's fine. Calibrate weather turbulence hazard, which is new by the way. This is checked. Everything looks good here. That's okay. Idle 0 set. And we're good there as well. Let's test something. Okay. So 2000 for now. And with that, the scan is so far complete. We're going to go ahead and do our walk around. I find it really cool that we start from this point on. And we can walk around like normal. It's really cool. Only thing you'll see now, when we try to walk on the jetway, boom, we fall down. Which is kind of a shame. So, we'll take a look at the aircraft from the outside. Take a look at all the different things we need to look at. And we quickly notice that the modeling is not as great as you may think. Fenix always looks good from a good distance, but once you get close you notice that it kind of lacks a little bit. As you can see, a lot of rough edges. That's all checked. That's good too. You can see also not very high resolution. It gets even worse. The slide does not work, but it should. Parking brake set. It's even worse. Like for example, if you want to read the oxygen discharge, looks good. There was a section where you just couldn't read anything. I have to look for it. There were a couple sections where you just couldn't read anything. Probably landing gear and stuff like that. We'll see. We could open the cargo door if we wanted to. That's potable waters right here. We can open this and we can open the cargo door. Reason why I don't care about that, it's cool, but the reason I would never use it is because it's not my job. I'm here as a pilot, and this is something I would expect the ground personnel to do. However, it is still good that this is simulated, or cool that it's simulated, because I can imagine that if GSX manipulates these doors, that you actually see these flaps open. And I think you actually do see that happen. The brake wear indicators are not simulated. Nothing to check here. Rear looks good. It is closed and latched. If we want, we can stop this. And then we can rotate it ourselves if we wanted to. But, I mean, the fact that it's already rotating in the wind is already for me a good indication that it's fine. But of course, giving a little hand gesture to move it, normally you would move it in the other way. Because it's easier. Gives you a good sense if there is too much resistance. That's good, that's checked. Navigation light works. The static wicks are in. Trailing edge looks undamaged. Nothing damaged. Outflow valve is open. Static wicks are there. Inlet is closed but clear. Exhaust is clear. All the hatches here look good. Trailing edge is good. Not simulated. Wheel looks fine. That's good. Yep. Navigation light works. Nice. Leading edge is undamaged. And the textures are not as good as one might think, or everybody always says. Hatches are closed. The wheel is spinning nicely. So walk around is complete. Let's go and request boarding at this point. So we're going to go load aircraft, we're going to go GSX boarding, and we're going to load fuel instantly. Seatbelt signs can come on. And I guess we'll give a little bit of integrity lights. Are we actually boarding? No. There's a bug, something with the Fenix and GSX that it does not want to board. You have to close the cargo doors or something like that, and then it starts boarding. We'll see here in a sec. Initial climb is 5,000. Climb, nav, blue, flight trace 102, 5,000, 11, let's check QNH, it's all good here. Pressurization, this is also not perfect. And this is also incorrect still. So systems wise, not much has changed. If anything at all. Only thing that really is major is the weather radar. Which is also not perfect, but that's a solo thing anyways, so we don't care. Yeah, with that, we are pretty much done. We're going to wait for boarding to complete, which is not happening for some reason.
Prague traffic, EV66 Hotel Kilo is 10 miles from runway 24 on approach.
Not sure if it has to do with sim brief. Boarding passengers now. It certainly isn't. Not sure what it's doing. It's not boarding passengers, that's for sure. Now it's boarding. It's so weird. I don't know what happened to the integration with GSX here, but it's also gotten worse. Now we're boarding when we should have been boarding 20 minutes ago. Great. Now we're gonna be delayed because of it. Ah, stupid. I don't know who's at fault. I'm not sure if it's GSX or if it's Fenix, but it's probably a little bit of both. Alright, so boarding just completed. We're now just about on time. Let me just check. Or are we late? No, we're late. We're 5 minutes late already. So we need to hurry it up. Final load sheet. We'll accept a zero fuel weight 59.5, and we've even got a little heavier on the zero fuel weight. This is just getting better by the minute. 32.8. Insert. Takeoff weight 69.8. And it is dry at the moment, so we'll go back to dry, calculate, and it should be in there. So 59, 59, 59, flex 59. That's interesting. That's fun. Trim down 0.3. Clean 225, clean 226 within 1 knot is correct. It's fine. Go and turn on the fuel pumps. Upper preparation checklist. Ear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity 10.5 tons. Come on, there we go. And balanced. Seatbelts on. Adheres. Nav. And barrel ref. Set 1017. So now we can see we have an ADC message. We got our clearance. We can see AOC received messages. There is nothing. I would expect a message. And if we go to, we can check anything here. There's nothing. Pressing the ATC com page should bring me to the ATC page. It doesn't. That's also a bug. So you always have to go to ATSU and then go back to ATC menu. So if we check here, message record, You can see there is a message, but can we do anything? No. We cannot accept anything. There's no button to accept or decline or stand by. Anything like that doesn't exist. So there's nothing we can do here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you can accept a message like this. You just can't. You just have to hit cancel and just leave it as is, which is kind of crazy, if you ask me. It only works if you've been in the ADC menu in the Fenix. In the real unit, you can be anywhere. You can be even in the AOC menu, and selecting ADC should bring you to the ADC menu. We're going to go to message record. We're going to check it out. Runway 24 is checked. About climb 5000 squawk 6270. 6270. Although we're on Vatsim, we're going to keep it at 2000. Alright. Flight plan, that's checked. Clearance is done. Status, probably Cat 2. It's wrong. Okay. That's all checked. Ground power can come off. The door is hopefully closed. There it is. And we'll do the departure briefing, things like that, and then we'll do the before start procedures. So go and request push and start. So before start procedure. Beacon on, thruster with idle, parking brake set, acupressure is in the green. Light should be arming, those who steering disengage should be coming. There we go. Lights are armed. And we'll wait for the nose wheel steering disc to appear. If not, we would have to disconnect ourselves. There it is. Before start checklist. Parking brake set. Takeoff speeds and thrust set. Windows closed. Closed beacon is on. Before start checklist completed. Not sure how this is gonna work. I'm just gonna test it to see how well it works, but I don't. But if we're gonna go into the building, that's gonna be a stupid profile. It's probably gonna be standard GSX profile. Release parking brake.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Cabin crew, arm doors and cross-check.
So it's doing that, so we're gonna drive into this. Ignition, and we'll start engine 2. Starting 1. Right brake set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
So let's check something. I've noticed this in the 319. After start checklist, by the way. So after start checklist, anti-ice off, ECAM status checked, pitch trim. That's the issue. Let's take a look. We've got pitch trim 30%, giving us down 0.3.
Unlocking gear.
Does it actually put down 0.3 here? Yeah, that's about right. In the 319, you'll see that it's way off. And I can't tell you what is way off. Whether it is the texture that is incorrect of the trim wheel, which actually can't be the case because it actually matches this. So probably the calculation is incorrect. There's definitely discrepancies here. That's another example of how the 319 and 321 are not perfectly integrated with the 320 from Fenix, and the 320 is the perfect, best integrated Airbus from them. Okay, hand signal's been given. I guess we just turn around here or turn around here. Because it's a better turn, we're gonna go turn around here and just join the taxiway here to runway 24. So let's do that. Something new that has been added to my collection, my flight simming, is a tiller. I now have a Airbus steering tiller, captain's side, which is pretty cool. Alright, brake check, pressure 0. Also, this plane likes to decelerate quite significantly, which is not something I would expect. Clear to line up. So, flight controls check, flaps config 1+F set, radar and predictor wind system on, engine mode selector will go and set ignition for today's takeoff. Any command while takeoff, no blue. Line up, takeoff runway 24 is confirmed. Pack T, CAS, TA, RA, packs 1 and 2 are off. Okay, that's too much. Alright. So, but not the perfect lineup. We're ready to go. Lights, camera, and action. Amflex 59 SRS runway, auto thrust blue. Knots. You want to rotate. Positive rate gears coming up. Nav. Let's go and climb auto thrust pack 1. And pack 2. Do auto flap retraction and flaps up. And standard set. And welcome back. So we are just about to reach top of descent, so we're gonna go ahead and plan for it. And we're gonna start off by getting weather. Alright, so 250, 220, alright. On low clouds. So we're gonna go to the arrival performance. We're dry, runway 28 left, refresh, apply. That's checked. Our landing weight, we're gonna go to the fuel predict page. And we have 5.1 plus 59.5, now 5.0, so that's 64.5. This is right at max. Medium, max reverse, flaps full, auto thrust off, manual landing, and no issues here. That's checked. Alright. Runway 28 left is still checked and confirmed. That's checked. Do copy. Auto brake medium. Landing elevation is checked.
1000. $500. $100 above. Minimum.
Continue.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
Manual braking. And welcome to Dublin.
The boarding requested.
Oh, that was correct. So, parking checklist, parking breaker chalk, set, engines off, wing lights off, fuel pumps off, parking checklist completed. And we are now boarding. So that was a nice flight, nice landing. But I have to say, I will stand with my opinion. I think the Fenix still does not fly very nicely. It flies nicely once you're in the air, but landing and taking off is better, but landing is still very wobbly and jittery, which I'm not a fan of. At least here in 2024. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it is possible that in 2020 it's a bit more stable. That's what I've heard, that there are some big differences between the two sims still, which is not good because, again, 2024 should be the one shining, since it's our future, since it is our future. But hey. So that is the end of the flight. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to the next videos with hopefully the FS Labs A321 Neo. We'll see if we do a long haul, possibly even from Dublin where we are now in Aer Lingus. We'll see. But either way, we'll see you all in the next one. Peace!